on Conspiracy of Truth, episode 32 with Mary Grace and Dave. We had some technical issues. Hopefully, that's not going to persist. We did some troubleshooting and we're going to try to keep going. And Dave, I think you're still tagged. So if you can retweet, that would be great. Can we hear you? Okay. So we're back and we started out fine. Then we went to the blue screen and we'll just see what people say when we get back. We'll give it just a second, see what happens. See, right now I see 0 in the attendee screen.
Looks good on Rumble.
Looks good on Rumble. Yay. Okay. I don't know what happened. Who knows? But it's always something. Okay, so episode 32, disclaimer, we're just talking and having a conversation, and we're doing, kind of commenting on the political landscape, the cultural landscape, things that we think matter, and we don't ever know where the conversation is going to go. But we're always happy to have an opportunity to get together and talk, and that's really what matters. So as you're coming in, please say hello, please repost, tag people, let us know, and thank you guys for your comments and for not getting mad at us when things went awry. We just don't know, and we're doing the best we can, and so we appreciate it. And if you do like what you're seeing, please follow my channel, subscribe, follow Dave, subscribe, and that way you can find more of the great content. Also, the other thing is, if you missed this and you missed the email, subscribe to the email list. It's marygracemedia.com, and then you can get emails when we do go live. We usually announce this kind of right before everything goes live. And that way you don't have to depend on the social media sites to get you the information. It's marygracemedia.com. Go over there and get on the mailing list. All right. So we're getting a thumbs up from all of our people. Hello. Good to see you. Now, I guess we'll jump right back into what we were talking about. I was giving my commentary on the Candace Owens situation. I wanted to say, again, Dave and I have been involved in the MAGA movement for quite some time. We've been around, we've seen some things. And if you want to talk about, we could spend a whole show talking about the drama that we've seen from people who are MAGA and who are supposedly conservative and who are just in it basically for themselves. But we're not going to do that. But what I am going to say is I really... What I haven't really engaged with Candace's content ever because I've seen her up close and in person, and I've seen the way that she handled some things that really could have brought our movement together in a very powerful way, and she didn't when given the opportunity. And in fact, she prevented other people from participating in ways that could have been very, very good for the growth of the movement, and especially for younger generations. And so from that time on, I've really had my doubts, and I've been pretty wary about watching her and taking anything that she says at face value. Now, I'm going to comment on her behavior and her actions since the death of Charlie Kirk. I think it's reprehensible. I think that she needs to unplug and hang up her cleats and go home. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat that, because what she is doing at this point is very destructive, and it's hard for me to imagine that there is any innocence or lack of guile in what she's doing. And in fact, if you do listen to her, if you have any training at all in information ops and psychological operations, she's running a pretty strong one. And she is being extremely manipulative. And for example, when she's explaining, when she's talking through the entire exercise of why she's not going to shut up, because, and she's splitting hairs about when Erica Kirk said stop. She's twisting Erica's words. She's saying, she said stop lying. And if she can prove to me what I'm lying about, then I'll stop. And it's always something else with a narcissist. It's always about them. And she turned it around. She turned the obvious pain and grief of a widow who is literally begging her to stop into something about her. That's wicked. It's Jezebel spirit, if you want to spiritualize it. And maybe there are things that we can question about the situation with Charlie Kirk, with the investigation. Sure, everybody has some questions, but what Candace is doing about this is hurtful and wrong and petty and mean girl. There's no two ways about it. What do you think, Dave? You may have a different opinion.
I have been doing my best to ignore her.
Yeah.
Because she just has never really resonated with me. She's never really convinced me that she's a true MAGA person in values. I see her as an opportunist, like one of many opportunists in the kind of in the Trump, conservative sphere. There's lots of them. Lots of people who have never really jumped on board with the America First agenda, have never really been super supportive of Trump. They've seen the popularity of the movement and realized, hey, I can latch onto this movement, get a ride. I can talk a lot of talk, and I can get a lot of clicks, and I can sell a lot of products, and I can make myself some money. And eventually I will take these people, I'll get my little hook in them, and then I'll drag them down some rabbit hole of my own creation. And that's what so many people have done. And I keep telling people, I've been saying this for years, the thing that our community needs more than anything else in this present time is discernment. I cannot believe the lack of discernment that exists among our community of people. They're being fed such crap for information, being led down pathways that are leading to some very destructive ideologies, and they're just eating it up hook, line, and sinker. They've got zero discernment, and they don't care. I'm just like, wow. All right. Well, hey, go follow the knuckleheads on social media who are just, taking you to your own destruction. Have fun with it. It's just, to me, it's appalling. And like you, my model of my messaging is not about attacking other people when I see someone doing wrong, when someone's saying something wrong. I don't engage in, rage porn and all this other stuff. Oh, you should be outraged at what this person is saying. It's just not my thing. I tend to ignore trolls and haters and idiots who have just stupid ideas, poorly thought out arguments. I just generally ignore them. And I try to focus on people who are who have good information, who are presenting factual information, who have good insights, good observations, good commentary, good critique. I try to focus my attention on people who are staying in their lane, who have a lane of expertise. They know their subject matter, and they're talking about what they know. And I try to retweet and repost those people who are providing good information. If I'm not posting someone on a regular basis, it's because I don't think they have good information.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, one thing I want to say about her in particular is I'm not here to debate whether her theories are right or wrong. It's to me, it's irrelevant. It's what she's doing. And for example, I would say it's safe to say that all of us have some doubts and questions about how the whole thing went down. Like if there was some mastermind behind it. I mean, we could go so many directions with it. But the timing, the fact that he wasn't even buried before Candace is out there with, her super secret squirrel, um, sources and her I know, I don't know,
Dreams.
but I know, and,
Yeah.
dragging, her relationship with Charlie, such as it is or was, through, I mean, that's just petty mean girl stuff, and the fact that she went online almost immediately after the interview with Erica Kirk, aired the other day when it with Harris Faulkner? Where Erica s
Mm.
no, it wasn't her, it was the CNN one, where Erica just said, "Stop," right? "Stop." And immediately, Candace takes to social media and says, "We're gonna have a fun show today." I mean, that's just that's twisted. That's not I mean, if you're a Christian and you're hanging on Candace's every word and you're, clicking notifications for when Candace goes live just to feed off of that stuff, I would really seriously suggest that you check yourself and pray and ask Holy Spirit to show you and give you better discernment, because that's not okay, what she's doing. And so, I think that there is a question about, maybe who's behind Candace on this. And again, we could open up some theories about that. Is there I mean, she's a master communicator, she's a master manipulator. Um, is somebody else pulling the strings? We don't know. But I will say that we have seen over and over the people whom Dave has described who come into this movement to create division. That is their role, is to divide MAGA, divide and conquer, get us fighting each other, get a division between, who's following Candace, who likes Candace, who like stop it. Stop, because we have so many bigger issues here. I feel for Erica Kirk, but I do believe that Erica and her team are going to take care of this, and their attorneys. So let's let them do it. But I will stand in solidarity with Erica and support her and say to Candace and anybody else that's feeding this nonsense, please back off and focus on what we need to focus on. That's not it. That gossip girl, mean girl stuff. He said, she said, I just have a feeling, I don't know, but I know that no, that's not going to say our we're in danger of some really big problems in this country and in the world. And so that situation, put a lid on it and walk away. That's the best thing you can do. Don't give her the oxygen.
Okay. Cool.
Good. We're done. Okay.
We're done.
We shall put that to bed. We're not bringing it back.
All right.
All right. So, what else?
We want to talk about the Somali, what do we call it? I think, gosh.
The Somali red pill moment.
Well, Stephen Miller had a name for it. I think he called it the migrant industrial complex or something of that nature, where we're coming to realize that there is an entire industry that has been built over the last 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
Where the State Department has facilitated, through non-government organizations, NGOs, this massive fraudulent scheme where the State Department literally goes to the most, the most disorganized, the most radical, the poorest, the most decrepit, corrupt countries, takes their people, calls them refugees, brings them to the United States, finds NGOs, some of which are faith-based, and then
Catholic charity
pays the NGOs money to resettle them, get them registered as voters, and get them signed up on every government assistance program that we have. The NGOs make billions of dollars. Our population is slowly being replaced by immigrants. Our elections are being stolen. And Stephen Miller had a really good discussion on this yesterday. It's one big fraudulent scheme, and now we're seeing that
Yeah.
it's in our
Yeah.
face now.
We were seeing it. We saw the immigrant asylum phase of it on steroids during the Autopen era, when they were funneling these people in mass by the millions across the border. And for example, they were flying them all over the country, no vetting, no ID necessary. I mean, there were literally lines in the airport where if you came in without an ID, I mean, this is crazy. Like, you or
They
me.
would take you through a special passageway
Yeah.
to bypass all of
Yeah.
the checkpoints.
Yeah.
I
And
saw
then,
it here at Phoenix Airport. They
yeah.
literally had a passageway where illegal immigrants coming into the country would just
Mhm.
go through this passageway and past all the normal checkpoints you and I would have to go through.
Yeah, and literally no ID, and then one of the things that these so-called asylum seekers were using were they would use their notice to appear, and here's one of the ways
Right.
that the left
Right.
was twisting the legal status, and so here's something to understand. If For example, if somebody came across the border during AutoPen, they would claim asylum because they were coached by the NGO lawyers on the other side to, in many cases, throw away their ID, especially if they had a criminal record, throw away their ID. Ben Berkwam is a good one to follow because
Yep.
he has a collection of passports and IDs from the other side of the border that he's found over the years, that have been thrown away. And so they come in, they have no ID, and then they're given a notice to appear in an immigration court, because the system is so overwhelmed that they cannot process them in the moment. Now we've been told it's overwhelmed. It was done by design and intention. And then that piece of paper, that notice to appear, became their legal paperwork to be in the country. And so they would
Right.
simply show that if they were apprehended and say, no, 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 I'm here legally. And then the left took that and ran with it. I've had,
Right.
you know,
They say, look, I have an asylum claim. I'm here legally now.
yeah,
And yeah, and so it's unfortunate
crazy.
that a lot of these NGOs, Catholic Charities was heavily involved
The
and may still
Methodists.
be
Yeah.
heavily involved
Hmm.
in, I'm sorry, I'm just going to call it the trafficking. It's a human trafficking operation on a
Yeah.
global scale.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, right now they're focusing on the entire people groups that have been inserted into American society. So let's go back to Springfield, Ohio, all of the Haitians that were on temporary protected status. And when Trump said they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs, people were pearl clutching and went into a state of apoplexy over that. Well, guys, that's not fake. I mean, we're talking, you bring people in from a country that they've destroyed, and you
Right.
expect them to lift up our country. I mean, Somalia, I taught students from Somalia who had never used indoor plumbing, and when they came to this country, they s- they're not bringing the best and the brightest. And if they haven't gotten dialed into that in their country, what makes you think they're going to do it in our country? I mean, I could tell you some stories, and I see the same thing in a one of the places that I like to go camping. There's a recreational area there, and I've talked to volunteers who clean the picnic area, and they have told me of finding where people have gone to the bathroom right next to the picnic tables, like not walking to the bathroom, but literally just depositing right there in the area where people go and have picnics. And this is a national park, and they're not improving the situation. This is not racist for me to say it. It's not xenophobic. It's just straight facts.
So, breaking a little bit of news,
Yeah.
the Trump administration canceled the temporary protected status of those Haitians in Springfield, Ohio, and others. And do you want to know what Republican Governor Mike DeWine said about it? He said, this is a travesty. This is unconscionable. And he said, all of the companies that are hiring these people are going to suddenly have no one working for them. So he comes out and literally says the quiet part out loud. Yes, we brought them in because our companies, who are probably helping him in his donating to his campaign, can hire these people for $6 an hour rather than hiring an American for $14 an hour. For them, it's all about the money. That's all they care about.
They hire them for, I mean, maybe less than that. They put them in housing. They put them in public housing. That takes, they flood our emergency rooms. Every single one that I've seen, there's a lot of Afghans around here. They're driving brand new minivans. Everybody. And there's, multiple wives, one husband, multiple wives, children everywhere. And they're all in brand new vehicles. I mean, we're like Toyota Sienna. I'm not talking about like a cargo van. I'm talking about like a really high end minivan, and they're using EBT. They're getting housing, and then there was a whistleblower who came forward and said that they were putting them on full Social Security benefits, and that should enrage everybody because, I know that we have people in our chat right now who will say, I've been trying to get on Social Security disability for X amount of time, right? And I was denied this, even though like I can't walk. I mean, crazy. And these people, these able-bodied people who are coming here, popping out babies, are being put on SSDI. I mean, I'm pissed off. Like, how can we? How should we? Yeah.
You know what the end game is for all of this? The entire reason why all of this is happening is that the liberals in this country and the Marxists understood that they had to replace the population in this country with a compliant citizenry that could be brainwashed and would be subservient and do whatever they're told. And so their long-term game plan is to do exactly what they're doing in Europe. It is to literally replace American native citizens with foreigners that they can then control. They've literally imported. Trump said the other day, the number of illegal immigrants in this country is around 50 million. Illegal immigrants in this country, and they've imported their own voter base from outside this country. They understood that the policies of the Democrat Party were going to go more and more and more further to the left, more towards socialism, more toward communism, and normal American citizens would not stand for that. So in order to foist their communist ideology on us, they thought, oh, let's bring in 50 million people from around the world, bring in our own voter base so we can win every election and bring our agenda to America. And Mandami is a perfect example, both an Islamist and a Marxist. And that's the kind of people that are driving this agenda, this population replacement. And they're going to stop at nothing. They're not going to quit, and it's going to get ugly at some point. I'm not suggesting violence, but they're not going to give up.
Well, you're right. I think you're right. And, before we had to restart the stream, I was telling you that, our show today is called the Breaking Point Edition. And, I always come up with a name for what the theme I think is of any given show, the Breaking Point Edition. And I was thinking about everything that we've seen just in the last week. There was a video that was going viral of a young woman in Minnesota working at a Cinnabon who just told off these Somalis who, at first glance, it looked like she was the offender because everything was selectively edited. And then we later found out they had been harassing her, of course, and trying to invoke a reaction, which they did. And she just didn't hold back. And the thing is, she wasn't a MAGA. She was a Democrat voter by the looks of her social media. And that should scare every Democrat
And she just
because
had it. She's fed up. She's
she'd
like,
had it.
I'm
Like
done.
she had reached her breaking point. You know, she called them the N-word. She gave them the middle finger. She just said, get out. I'm done. And here's the thing. Um, what I think is really ironic is that the Somalis are angry that Black America is not backing them.
Of
And
course they are.
I can't tell you how many videos I've seen of Black Americans saying, get out. And I think it's logical. It would follow logically that Black Americans are pissed off because they've suffered tremendously under this influx of immigration for quite a long time. A lot of the trades, for example, tiling and bricklaying, that was kind of known as a specialty in the Black community for quite a long time. And that was completely undercut by Hispanics. So they lost that trade, and goodness knows what else has been lost. And I'm not saying that demographic only does the trades, but that was a very well-known expertise in that community. And that was ripped away from them. And so many things. The schools are failing, and kids can't speak English. And now you've got an influx of kids who not only can't speak English, they can't read, they can't write. They come from a place where there's a double digit IQ. The average IQ is like double digits. I'm sorry, you can't integrate that. You can't lift that up. That's why their country is a shithole to start with. I'm not holding back. I'm done.
I think you're just quoting our president.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and then you add to this mix. I've been looking at. I don't always post the mass shootings on my Telegram news channel because I don't want to focus too much on the violence that's happening.
Yeah.
But holy cats, it seems like almost every day now in our country somewhere there's a mass shooting at a school, at a mall.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And now we had a mass shooting at Brown University last night and another mass shooting in Australia at Bondi Beach.
At a Hanukkah celebration.
The Rhode Island and the local Providence police are very mum about the suspect, claiming initially they had no video, no information, don't know how this person got on campus, don't know where they went when they left. Definitely didn't want to let the public know anything about who this suspect might be. And I suspected from early on, something's up. This is going to be one of those people that they're not going to want the public to know about because it's going to be a certain type of person that they're trying to hold up as the people we should be supporting, and we should be loving and caring and accepting of these people. They're just different from us, right?
Yeah, yeah. And one of the things that I think is happening, and I it's refreshing to me, is that just like the girl in the Cinnabon girl, we're seeing more and more people standing up and saying, this is not okay. You can, like, at this point, call me what you want. Just call me I don't care. Call me what you want, because I know the truth. And I know that, we didn't come this far. Our men and women, our men did not storm the beaches of Normandy to have this happen to our country, to have you tell me that I am a racist or a xenophobe for wanting to preserve the American way of life that they fought and died for. I'm beyond that. And I think that I don't know if we've reached the breaking point where everyday Americans are going to speak up. But one thing that I think is interesting, Sundance posted yesterday a little bit of a poetic piece about quiet rage. And, he basically said, you're watching well-dressed people walking out of the store with shrimp and steak on an EBT card, right? You're watching people, our money being used to finance our replacement, and he said that he basically said, there's a rage that isn't expressed outwardly, but that when the time comes, it's over. And I think there's a lot of people, I mean, especially after COVID, that are just don't mistake silence for weakness.
Yeah.
That
Well,
that was his point.
there's a well-known saying that I think is going to come around at some point, and that is, beware the fury of a patient man.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're getting to that point where difficult decisions are going to have to be made.
Yeah. And Trump has been very patient. And he's put up with more than most of us could stand in a lifetime. And he's put up with that in 10 years. And at this point, I mean, he just doesn't like he's over it. I mean, he's literally sitting there and saying, Elon Omar is garbage. She's garbage. And the things that she's doing is garbage, and she needs to go back. Like, I mean, he tried. He tried to do it the nice way. He tried to kind of play nice and equivocate on some things.
Right.
And, he didn't throw Hillary Clinton in jail, even though most of us would like to see that. Like, he was trying to be merciful in some ways, and they still tried to crucify him, and his own party was had the knives out for him the entire time he was in his first term. And then they did the fake impeachments, and then they tried to kill him, and then they shot him. I mean, and I think if we look at this past year, starting with Doge, I mean, Doge, if you were paying attention, was enough to bring any normal person into a state of fury. Actually, I'm going to back up a little more than a year to Hurricane Helene.
Yeah.
Because we
Yeah.
still have,
That's a good jumping in point.
yeah, we still have people living in tents in North Carolina, guys. And my niece lives in Boone. And I want you to know it started snowing there as early as October.
And we have documented proof
Yeah.
that there were FEMA employees going around
Yeah.
determining the
Mhm.
political views of the people that they were supposed to give aid to. And if you were a Trump supporter, you got nothing.
Exactly. And I think that was documented in Florida. Nevertheless, we also had people who were on the ground reporting in North Carolina. General Flynn was on the show, and he was
Right.
talking about it. It was 30% of the state of North Carolina that was affected by this. Yes, there were other counties. I understand that. Yes, parts of Tennessee. North Carolina was the most heavily affected, and they are still suffering. And one thing, for example, there's similar areas where I live where you drive down the street or down the road out in the country. I mean, we're out in the country within 5 minutes around here, and you drive down the road and you're driving along a, a little valley, and there's all these little hollers, and every single one of them you have to go across a creek to get home. And so I don't think people understand the scale of how many bridges washed out and separated people from their homes in North Carolina and still haven't been rebuilt. And then when they try to rebuild them, or they try to put a temporary structure in place, then the government comes along and tells them they have to take it out. And can you imagine how infuriating that would be? So that's, and then go back to Maui. I mean, and then the Palisades fires, and then Doge. And then
But our elected leaders are fine giving billions and billions
Mhm.
of dollars to illegal immigrants, and nothing
Yeah.
for citizens
Yeah.
who actually live here, work here, pay taxes.
Yeah, and we got Doge, we still got,
You got Doge.
yeah, we got Zelensky pimping out for more money, and Don
Let's see,
Jr. Yeah.
his one of his senior assistants resigned under corruption charges after they found out he embezzled $100 million.
Yeah. Well, and Don Jr. was on record last week, I think, on an interview talking about Monte Carlo, how many Ferraris, Maseratis down there are running around Monte Carlo that are Ukrainian owned. Oh, gee, how did they get the money for that, $500,000 Bugatti? Let me guess. Wait, what was the last payment we gave out to Ukraine?
Hey, let's talk about Hamas and the fact that the top 5 or 6 people in Hamas are all billionaires. They all live in penthouses in Qatar. They don't go anywhere near Gaza. They never will. They're just taking the money that we send into Gaza and they're skimming off the top for themselves. There is a massive grift everywhere. Wherever we're sending money, whether it's Ukraine or Gaza or someplace, there are billionaires who are skimming off the money, making themselves rich, and they don't give a damn about the people that are suffering.
Yeah, and some of us, we've been talking about this for a long time, and so we've got all that, and then we go, we get through Doge. And, the left can't decide what to do because,
we want to talk about the lawfare against Trump.
Oh, yeah, let's do that. I was going to go to where they shot him, but let's do that.
The leftist judges who will issue one nationwide injunction after another. They'll go to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court will say, you can't do that. You're not going to issue any more nationwide injunctions. It's against the Constitution. And then the next time Trump issues an executive order, they go right back and issue more injunctions. They don't care because they know they're not going to be held accountable. Mm-hmm. All these people are screaming for Judge Boasberg to be impeached. Do you think anyone in Congress is actually going to ever want to impeach a liberal judge who's working with the system against Trump? They don't care. Congress doesn't care. Congress wants Trump gone. They can't wait for Trump to be gone so they can go back to normal and get back on the feeding trough and get rid of all this nonsense about saving money and taking, having fiscal responsibility. Members of Congress don't care about that.
No.
And it makes me sick to have to sit here and tell people, look, these are your elected leaders. They can't wait for Trump to be gone.
Yeah. Well, and it's let's just be clear. It's not the Democrats. The Republicans are worse. Right. And at the state, at the local level, I'll never forget after Trump got elected in 2016, I went to my local GOP meeting, because I thought, okay, the Republican, this would be great. We're so excited. We finally won. And I went to one and only one meeting, because it was very clear that the Republicans in my county hated Trump. And I mean, it was like, that was one of my first wake up calls. Like, what?
Yeah. Tell me why the Indiana state legislature passed on the opportunity to do redistricting, and they gave the Democrat Party congressional seats where they could take back a few seats. They don't care. They do not care. They don't care about winning. They don't care about the America First agenda. All they want is the status quo. They had their establishment. They've got their money. They've got their donors, and they just want Trump and his people to go away. That's all they want. Yeah.
What is it? The George Carlin said, "It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
You're not in it."
Yeah. And, I mean, I often call DC, it's just a big country club. I mean, Northern Virginia, DC, all of those Republicans, especially in my state, they're just country club Republicans. It's all about image. It's all about, who's, scratching who's back, Chamber of Commerce bros. That's what it is. And and those are the people that I think if I were those people, I would actually be the most scared, because the betrayal of people that have been elected again and again by hardworking Americans, not immigrants, not illegal immigrants, not asylum seekers, not an imported voter base, but people who actually believed them. when they said, I'm going to get something done. I'm going to change something in DC. Those are the people who should be the most afraid of the fury of a quiet man, I think. And again, I'm not calling for violence. We're not doing that here. But if somebody comes to a breaking point, I just I don't know. I don't know what is going to happen. And somebody put a comment that said Pence had something to do with the Indiana redistricting. That wouldn't surprise me. Mike Pence, because he's, of the Paul Ryan, Cheney, just
He's a rhino.
that establishment. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's a rhino.
So it's just, I don't know. I think, yeah, I mean, something's got to give, and the whole thing with, so we've got 50 million illegals, and they're dropping babies every time you turn around, and then those babies become citizens. Insane. So in February, the Supreme Court is going to hear the birthright citizenship case. And this is probably a good time to talk about that because,
Yeah.
the birthright citizenship was meant for the children of slaves who, way back when people were enslaved in this country, they weren't considered citizens. And then that changed. And then there was a debate about what would happen if those people had a child. That is a completely different conversation from somebody that jumps on a plane 8 months pregnant or, walks across the border in San Diego and pops out a baby or engages in what is well known as birthright tourism. That's a thing, guys.
Right.
So it's a scam. And then those people go on benefits. The baby gets on Medicaid right away. The family benefits from it. Oh, and wait, let me talk about the Somalis, because one of the things the Somalis are doing is they're practicing polygamy. And, you've got one dad with like 8 baby mamas, and all of the baby mamas qualify for benefits with their anchor babies. And then they're qualifying for food stamps, welfare, et cetera, et cetera. And then the daddies are, the dads are going around and using that money to fund their restaurants and their stores, and they're scamming the system that way. It's all right.
It's a scam.
Go.
It's a scam. They figured it out.
Yeah.
Birthright citizenship. I'm optimistic about the chances that the current understanding of that is going to be overturned. There's been, I think, as Neil Gorsuch said, and having to do with a different case. This case was Humphrey's executor, and he recently said, isn't it maybe just the fact that Humphrey's executor was a poorly reasoned decision, and that there isn't actually a non-elected fourth branch of the government that's independent of the Congress, the judiciary, and the executive branch? And he was speaking about this case where at issue is Trump's ability to hire and fire people in the executive branch, Board of Commissioners, the Federal Reserve. Are these people part of an independent agency that is not accountable to the president? And Gorsuch was like, of course not. The Constitution has 3 branches of government: judiciary, Congress, and the executive branch. You're a member of one of those branches. You're not an independent agency that is not accountable to someone. So Gorsuch was arguing that that Humphrey's executor was a poorly reasoned decision, and it's likely going to be overturned. All right. Same thing with birthright citizenship. This issue of birthright citizenship, if you read the Constitution, it's really very plain what it was intended for. As you said, it was intended to establish citizenship for the children of slaves who were already here in this country,
Yeah.
subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. Okay, that's the key phrase.
Subject to the
It hinges
jurisdiction.
on-
Yes.
It hinges on the word subject to the jurisdiction thereof. If your parents lived here in the country, and your parents, even if they were slaves, even if they were indentured, servants, and you were born here, you are subject to the jurisdiction of the laws and the Constitution of the United States, because this is where you're born, this is where you are, and your parents were here as well. So the question then is, what does the phrase "subject to the jurisdiction thereof" mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
All right, a person comes here from Honduras. They're a Honduran citizen. They have no citizenship here in the United States. They're Honduran citizens. They're subject to the jurisdiction and the laws of Honduras, not the United States. Okay? If they come here and they have a child, that child and their parent was not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States laws. They're subject to the Honduran laws. And that's where that argument, I think, is going to hinge. It's on the word "subject to the jurisdiction thereof." What country, what nation are you subject to the jurisdiction of? If you're not an American citizen, if you're a citizen of another country, so is your kid. And I think that the Supreme Court will iron that out, and we'll get some clarity on it. That's just my opinion.
Dave, I have a serious question. Do
Yeah.
you think that Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson can handle the level of intellect and reasoning that you just threw down there?
Oh my gosh. That woman, I cannot stand to listen to that woman talk. I'm just like,
I mean, this is DEI.
what world are you living in?
Well, yeah, because I mean, we have a serious problem on our hands. We've got DEI on steroids with that one. And I mean, yeah, I'm just saying.
She is going to she's going to have her A game on for these oral arguments. I guarantee it, because this is an issue that the left and the fascists and the communists and the socialists, but I do repeat myself, and the Democrats, this is a huge issue for them.
Yeah.
They feel like they have to win this issue. Ketanji Brown Jackson, I guarantee you, is going to be in her A game. She will not have a clue what the Constitution says. She will not have a clue about relevant case law, but she'll be there arguing her best for her view.
Now, this brings up the question of the auto pen, because she was selected by auto pen, and we still haven't squared with the consequences of what happens with decisions that were made by the auto pen, because clearly Biden was not running the show. So how do we reconcile that?
That is a very difficult question, and here's why. Look at the Constitution. The Constitution gives plenary power to the president to pardon people who have been, convicted of crimes. And here's the problem with that. The Constitution provides no judicial oversight and no oversight by Congress. I've listened to legal scholars talk about this from different perspectives. It is really difficult to make a sound constitutional legal case for the idea that the courts can review any pardoning decision made by the president. Now, it gets very nuanced, because people will say, well, Biden wasn't the one who issued the pardon. It was one of his aides. They took some money. We have their testimony that they received $50,000, and they're the one who ran the auto pen, and they got this person the pardon. Okay, if you can make that case in a court of law and convince a judge that that's what happened, we might be able to get some of those pardons overturned. But it's a dicey thing, again, because it is a plenary power given to the president that is not really subject to judicial review. So I don't really know where that goes. Trump is all over it, and he feels like, and his legal team feels like they have a legal basis to challenge these. It'll be interesting to see if they can pull it off, given our current state of the court system.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, so many things. It's like we kind of I've kind of lost count of what of the treachery and the corruption. It's like, every time you turn around, you think, okay, this was corrupt and
I,
this is tainted. And then you
I
turn around,
knew
you're like,
I knew Congress was corrupt. I knew that the executive branch was mostly corrupt. I knew
yeah,
the intel agencies were
yeah.
very corrupt. I knew about the military industrial complex. 8 years ago, when I started, I got into, Spygate, and then later I
Mhm.
got into Q, I had no idea how corrupt our court system is. And it has been very
Yeah,
discouraging. It's been
yeah,
very discouraging to
yeah.
me to see just how corrupt our legal system is.
Hmm.
Not just DOJ, FBI issues, but the courts themselves are just compromised beyond belief.
Hmm. I think, yeah, it's that. And I recently had occasion to be involved with a court case that um, unfortunately cemented for me just how dysfunctional the whole thing is. I mean, it's because the case that I was involved with was it was very clear to me that something needed to be done about in the situation, but it was like the prosecutor hadn't even taken 5 minutes to look at the information that was germane to the topic. I mean, it was crazy. It was like you literally just punted your job here. And then, when we look at the lawfare against Trump, look at the cases that went ahead with him that were obviously selectively chosen because, in a case like, for example, one thing that I learned is that if a prosecutor doesn't feel like they have enough to go on, or if there's any doubt about whether there could be reasonable doubt in a case, and we're talking about a criminal case, they will make the recommendation not to prosecute, even
Right.
though the charges. Like, here's one thing I think people need to understand: being charged with something doesn't necessarily mean that somebody even gets tried with it or even gets a plea deal. Because if the prosecutor decides not to proceed with the charges, then it's what's called a null pros, right? And there's a longer Latin term for that, but that's what they say in the industry. So basically, they decline to prosecute. And so, having been through the process that I was involved with in the past few months, it's actually more eye-opening to me that any prosecutor went forward with any charges against Trump because it was so clearly bogus and made up out of thin air. And then when you go back and look at Comey, when he came out and exonerated Hillary Clinton on the emails, and he said no reasonable prosecutor would go ahead prosecuting her. And now I understand why reasonable people had a collective gasp of shock when he said that, because it was like, yes, any reasonable prosecutor would 100% go forward with charges. But what we've had happen in this country is that the prosecutors have been bought and paid for by Soros money. And so
And the judges.
yeah, and the judges. So there's no longer a pretense of whether it's reasonable or not. And so, for years and years, we've had career criminals being either declined to prosecute or getting out on cashless bail. And like right now in North Carolina, things have changed because of what happened with is her name Irina? They have now
Yeah,
Irina's Law. So
Arena's law.
yeah, so these criminals are actually being held now on, millions of dollars of bail, and they're not being let out after serial offenses. So it's just, having been, inside that system for like 5 minutes on a personal matter, it's opened my eyes even more to how this whole thing has been corrupted. And that's one thing. Okay, but let's just keep playing whack-a-mole here, because then we have the NGO industrial complex. Like what? And then, okay, wait, there's more. The medical industrial complex, the food industrial complex, the pharma industrial complex. I mean, it's like every time you turn around, there's a different entity that is just hell bent on destroying regular Americans and killing us.
Yeah, who knew? Let's see, 8 years ago, that the State Department, through USAID, was secretly funding the fake news industrial complex. That the New York Times, Washington Post, The Atlantic, all these rags, the LA Times, they were all receiving millions of dollars
Yeah.
in grants from USAID because
Mhm.
their crap that they were publishing, people wouldn't sign up for a subscription and actually pay to read it. So our taxpayer money went to
Yeah.
fund our own psyop against us with the news complex. And that's just the beginning of this crap. All the other NGOs that we found out that were funneling all this money into Democrat causes. It's just crazy. It has been insane.
It boggles the mind. So Dave, not counting the time that we lost to the blue screen, we're coming up on an hour here. Can you believe it? And so that means we're going to take a little break, and we're going to
Buy
talk.
some silver.
Buy some. Dave, well, hold on. We'll talk about that in just a second. Wait, I want to talk about the meat sticks again, even though I don't have a link.
Whatever.
This is some friends of mine sent me these meat sticks. These are some of the gym bros that I hang out with. They made these lean sticks, and they're really good. So it's a really good clean meat stick, and I wanted to tell everybody about it because they very kindly sent me a package of a bunch of these. So if you're a Slim Jim gal or guy, and you're kind of worried about the carcinogens in there, and you want a clean meat stick, this is what you want. And the website, let me tell you the website. You can go find these because it's pretty awesome. It is called, what is their website called? How come I lost the link? How could I do that? Hold on. leannutritionco.com. leannutritionco.com. There it is. So just check that out because they have a really good product over there, and meat sticks make a really good stocking stuffer. Somebody's asking me my favorite flavor. They're both good. I got the green one, and the red one is like sweet heat. That's what they call it. And my dad was chomping on these when we started. He was having his little charcuterie before supper. But so check that out. But also, let me take Dave off camera for just a second, and we'll talk about some of our actual sponsors. And Dave is chomping at the bit here to talk about gold and silver, and he's right, because my silver has like more than doubled since I got it. But let's talk about our sponsors, and then we'll come right back. And then I'm going to turn the show over to Dave for a minute because I have to go find a charger because my computer is going to die because I had to use one of the ports to plug in. It's a long story, but anyway, I got to go find a charger. Anyway, we'll see you in just a second, Dave. Don't go away, guys. We're going to talk about our sponsors. So if you need a beverage, keep the volume up loud. Because this is not your average commercial. We'll see you right in a minute, Dave. Dave's laughing at me. So listen, want to tell you guys about some of our sponsors. As you know, this is a listener-supported channel. And anytime you buy something that we share on the show, we get a little commission here at Mary Grace Media. One of our favorite sponsors is the freeze-dried beef guys. These guys are out in Oklahoma. Isn't that the best graphics there. Look at that cow, American cow. The reason it's American is that this is American grown, American processed beef. It's right from ranches and farms out in the middle of the country. Every time you buy this, griddownchowdown.com, you are helping to save American farm and ranch land. So please go and support these guys. Griddownchowdown.com. This is ground beef. It's not jerky. It's ground beef. You add water and you reconstitute it into ground beef that you can use to make whatever you make with ground beef, spaghetti, meatballs, tacos, whatever it is, hamburgers. They do have pre-made patties too. So if you're really busy and you want the work done for you, go ahead and get that. Some people use these for prepping. It's fantastic for that. They use it for everyday menu preparation. You can do it for that. It is grass-fed, grass-finished. This is a smaller boutique company. They do everything in-house. And so keep that in mind when you place an order. They're not going to give you like the 1 or 2 day turnaround that you could get from some of the bigger box retailers. But in my opinion, it's totally worth it. Griddownchowdown.com. Use promo code Mary Grace. Now, one thing I haven't talked about in a while is everybody is interested, I think more interested in making positive changes with your health, especially as we go into winter. It's not really, some people call it flu season. I think it's sugar and stress season because most people are eating like crap. But what is it that's actually causing your body's immune system to flame out when you add those things? Well, our friends, Dr. Troy and his team over at Synapse at officialsynapse.com, they can help you get to the root cause, like what's causing my body to respond negatively to stress, etc. Why can't I lose the weight I've been carrying around for years? Why do I get anxiety? Why do I have memory issues? Why are all these things happening to me? And how can I get answers outside of the medical industrial complex? How can I figure out a way to wean off of whatever pharmaceuticals I've been on? These are the kinds of questions lots of people are asking. If you're one of those people, please give them a call or go over to officialsynapse.com. It's SYNAPSE, and talk to them, set up a free consultation, and get to the root cause of what it is that is got you all tangled up and messed up in the first place. Officialsynapse.com. Also, it wouldn't be Christmas if we didn't talk about pillows and towels and robes and slippers. If you go over to mypillow.com and use promo code Mary Grace, you can still stock up. There's still time to get shipping on those items. Better hurry though. We love our friends over at MyPillow. MyPillow.com, promo code Mary Grace. Get all you need for Christmas and beyond over there at MyPillow.com, promo code Mary Grace. Last thing I'll say is, as you're going into this season where you might feel like you need a little more boost, whether it's your B vitamins, your D vitamins, whatever it is, please be careful where you buy. I suggest that you go over to the Mary Grace Essentials store. You can link through it on my website at marygracemedia.com, or you can go to marygradewellness.gethealthy.store. Any of the supplements that you've been used to buying, whether it's at a big box store, whether it's at an online retailer, I encourage you to go to my Essentials store and get the supplements directly from the source. We work directly with the manufacturers, so you can be sure that what you're buying is from the actual manufacturer, that it's not a counterfeit product. And we want you to have the best. All new orders get a 10% off. You can set up subscribe and saves over there, and it's free shipping. And the turnaround time is pretty good. So please go over there to the Mary Grace Essentials store. Take care of your health. But do it with the actual real product, and don't harm yourself further by getting things that are counterfeit and don't have the ingredients that you're paying good money for. Mary Grace Essentials, it's marygracewellness.gethealthy.store. So we're going to bring Dave back here. I do appreciate everybody being here and watching us today and supporting the show. And here we go. So Dave is back. And now, Dave, you want to talk about silver for a few minutes?
Sure.
I'm going to and
do some troubleshooting.
Yeah, I'm going to do I'm going to get my charger and check on the people in our house.
Cool.
And then people are asking where to buy silver. Can I just say, I would say, like, if you're gonna buy physical silver, like, if you're gonna go and just buy some rounds, I would find a reputable local place. That's just me. I mean, you know, we
Yeah.
we have a
Yeah.
good I have a good one here in Virginia, so if you're not sure and you wanna know, I will put the link up there for those guys. But Dave is gonna take it, and I will be back. I'll be back soon. Charger.
All right. Yeah. So I sometimes have people ask me, why am I posting the price of silver on X and on Telegram? Like, and I'm like, okay, well, here's the story. God has been speaking to me about investing in silver for years. I think my first dreams related to silver were in 2010, might have been 2009, but 2010, 2011, 2012, in that time frame, right? So 15 years ago, God began giving me these dreams where he was pretty clearly indicating to me that silver was at some point in the future was going to become very valuable. And that was a kind of a suggestion that I should invest in it. Short story, in 2010, Denise and I did invest in some silver. We had some cash. We were still living in Washington State at the time. we bought silver at, I don't know, it was like $16 an ounce, something like that. We held it for a year. We moved down here to Phoenix in 2011, and we found a house that we wanted to buy. We went to put down the money for the down payment. A lot of the money was in silver. We cashed out our silver at $47 an ounce. If you look back on the history charts of silver, there were two big historical peaks, 2011 and 1980 or 1979. Those are the two big spikes in silver in 1979, 1980. That was when the Hunt brothers kind of cornered the silver market. And then there was a big run up in 2011. We happened to cash out our silver when silver was $47 an ounce. We took the money, we put down a down payment on the house, and 2 weeks later, the price of silver dropped back to like around $20 an ounce. So we were very fortunate that we happened to buy silver and sell it at the right time. We made it a decent profit on that. And so God has been giving me dreams about investing in silver. And look, I'm not a financial planner. I'm not an investment broker. I'm not an analyst. My advice to you is not to be taken as financial advice. What I can tell you, though, is God has specifically told me that invest in silver. It'll be a good long-term investment. That's what I can tell you. This year, the price of silver started to ramp up. I think it started the year around $29 an ounce. It is now around $62, $63. It hit $64.50 on Friday before it got slammed back down, slammed down to $62, which is still pretty darn good compared to what it was at the beginning of the year, which was like $29 an ounce. So silver has ramped up. There's massive increase in demand for silver. It is a key metal used in solar panel production, in electronics, in a lot of different manufacturing processes use silver. So the industrial demand for silver is very high, and the supply is not. Silver mining has not kept up with the demand. I think that's the main reason why silver has gone up so much in value this year. I think silver is probably around 130% increase in value this year. And I think a lot of it is due to industrial demand that has outpaced the supply. The silver miners, they're just not mining a lot of silver. So whatever silver is available, the price is just going up. Will the price continue to go up? Is it too late to invest in silver? I don't know. That's my answer. I don't know. I don't know how high the price of silver is going to go. I don't know if it is too late to invest. I suspect it is not too late to invest. I think the price of silver will continue to go up because the mining is not catching up to the industrial demand. Demand is outstripping the supply, and with commodities, it's supply and demand. Copper is at an all-time high. Gold is at an all-time high. Silver is at an all-time high. Platinum is at an all-time high. And none of these metals are being mined in any capacity that is allowing them to keep up with the demand. The demand is outstripping supply, so they're all at record high prices. That's probably going to continue. I just haven't seen a lot of news and investment people saying that they're opening new mines and supply is increasing. I just haven't seen that happening. So if you're looking for something to invest in, I think silver is a good investment. It's not complicated. It is not complicated. You don't have to go to a silver broker. You don't have to go to an investment person. You can literally go to a local coin shop and you can buy silver coins. I buy silver round. Rounds are 1 ounce silver coin. They're made by various mints around the country. They're unlike, for example, silver maples, Canadian silver maples, which are actually minted by government mints and they're a higher purity, or American minted coins minted by the U.S. Mint, Liberties and Silver Eagles and things. A round is a pure silver coin, usually 0.99% pure silver. But it's because it's not minted by a government mint, the premium on that silver is much lower. So if you went into a coin shop and you wanted to buy a silver coin, for a silver round, you might pay $3 over the daily spot price. For a silver eagle or a silver maple, you might pay $11 over spot price for that coin because they're collectible. And the margin, the profit for the shop is going to be more on a government minted coin. But I like I said, I buy silver rounds, and it's not rocket science. If you have a few bucks and you want to, a couple $100 and you want to buy some silver coins, just go to a local coin shop and buy a couple of silver coins and, put them somewhere safe. And possibly in a year, they might be worth a lot more. And if you have a little bit more money, you want to buy a silver bar, that you can get a 10 ounce silver bar, you can get 100-ounce silver bars. Most coin shops have, 1,000-ounce silver bars if you really want a lot of silver. But you can get it at a local coin shop. It's not rocket science. You don't have to go to a special place. Any reputable coin shop that's near you will be able to, sell you, and then they give you, just ask questions. They'll get some education about what is, what's the difference between the selling price and the buying price. And if the price goes up to $120 and I come in here in 6 months and what are you going to give me for this? They'll tell you. You'll get a free education if you just go to a coin shop. All right, Mary, you're back. Are you there? Can't hear you. At least I can't hear you. She goes away and her mic is dead. All right. She's working on it. So, here's another thing.
Am I back? Am I here?
You're back, and I want to do one more thing.
Does this thing work?
Yep, I can hear you. One more thing. On a recent podcast, I talked about a supplement called NiaCel. I've had a bunch of people email me about it. It's NiaCel, and it's 400. And the stuff that Denise gets me is made by Thorne. Is that correct, honey? Thorne?
Oh, and that would be on the Mary Grace
And
Essentials
Denise,
store.
sorry, Mary has it on her site.
Yeah. Let me link to the site.
So the deal with NiaCel, NiaCel, yeah, it's a little expensive. But here's the thing. I have not slept well for years. Interrupted sleep, wake up at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 3:30, can't get back to sleep. My mind is going and I'm kind of irritated and I just can't get back to sleep. And I've been living on, 3.5, 4 hours of sleep for years. And Denise started putting NiaCel in my little thing of supplements. She gives me a little thing of supplements every day. I get my vitamin D and, a bunch of other things, fish oil and some B vitamins, B complex. She puts NiaCel in there. She started doing that a couple months ago. And I didn't realize what was going on. I didn't know what she had done. She's added niacin to my daily supplements. And after about 3 weeks, I'm like, hey, honey, weird thing. I'm sleeping through the night, like every night now. Just like, I'd go to bed at, 10 o'clock and I wake up at 7 and I feel great. I'm like, what is going on? Like, I don't have the interrupted sleep anymore. She said, well, I started giving you berberine and I started giving you niacin. Maybe it's, one of those two. Like, well, berberine is a good supplement. It's actually good for controlling blood sugar.
Yeah.
Some people who have been able to get off metformin by substituting berberine because it'll control blood sugar. But niacin is an NAD precursor. An NAD is a supplement that is it's a key. I don't
like
know
for
what
it's for
it's for the brain function.
mitochondrial.
What I don't know is I don't know if it's a protein, if it's a peptide, if it's what it is, what the molecular structure is. But NAD is a substance. Let's call it a substance, okay?
Yeah.
It's a substance that has been shown to greatly enhance neurological function in a lot of different areas. And it's become kind of a popular supplement. NAD is kind of expensive. Niacin is a less expensive precursor to NAD. It will turn into NAD through a chemical reaction. So I've had pretty good results with taking niacin. And I didn't even do it intentionally. Like I said, Denise just started throwing it in my supplements, and I started sleeping through the night. Now for like 3 months, I'm just sleeping through the night. So
excellent.
If you're having sleep issues, you might want to consider looking into niacin.
Yep. And you can go to the Essential Store. If you just go to my website, marygracemedia.com, it's under the shopping tab, or you can scan the QR code here on the screen and just look up niacin. Listen, I did want to say, if you're in Central Virginia and you're looking for a reliable source to buy silver or any precious metal or sell, the one that I go to is Jefferson Coin, and it's jcsgold.com. J Jefferson Charlie S like superstar gold.com. And I know those guys. They've been in business for a very long time, great reputation. And so if you're concerned at all, they're fantastic. I would definitely recommend them. And you can check them out if you want to go in person. I've been dealing with them for years and years. Okay. And then of course, if you want to buy from people online, you can buy from them online as well. So thank you for explaining that, Dave, about the gold, and especially about the different types of rounds. Somebody pointed out something on that was saying that older coins also have a higher percentage of silver. So older quarters and half dollars and things like that.
Oh yeah, junk silver.
Yeah, they call it junk silver. Yeah.
Quarters and dimes and half dollars minted prior to 1964 have 90% silver.
Yeah. And so you can buy junk silver from Jefferson Coin and other places. So if your budget is really tight, and you can also, if you have that big pile of change sitting around, don't go cash it in until you look through and see which ones contain silver, for sure. The other thing too, I would say is, if budgets are tight, some people sometimes are looking to sell, especially gold. And if that's you, look around the house and look for things like earring backs, necklace clasps, things that end up in the jewelry box from broken jewelry or little lost pieces. You'd be surprised sometimes at how much of those things are actual, 10 karat or 12, 14 karat gold. And then it's kind of like they consider it scrap and you can sell it. And if you need cash to pay a bill or something, just a little tip that you might be able to scrounge up some cash, because we know that not everybody is in a situation of being able to buy at this point. And we still want you to go someplace reputable. Okay, so let's see. Somebody said, I thought you were in Arizona. No, I'm in Virginia.
I'm in Arizona.
Yeah, but I've been to Arizona. I've been there. Have friends, Dave and Denise are there. So
You've been to our place.
yes, I've been to your place. I've been to both your places. Um, so it's fantastic. I do like it. I like Arizona, and I hope to be there soon again. Haven't been there in a while. I went to the Grand Canyon when I was in college and loved it. It was one of the best memories ever. I'd like to go back there. You guys are how far from the Grand Canyon? Like 2 hours?
4 hours.
Oh, I thought it was closer.
It's a
Oh,
bit of a drive.
because you
It's
kind of have.
it's a couple hours drive to Sedona, and then a couple hours more to get to the Grand Canyon.
Oh,
Hour and a
okay.
half more.
Okay.
Long drive.
Yeah. Okay. So, do we want to keep talking about? I kind of want to keep talking about some of the political stuff and the current. I was asking you a question and then I answered it. Um, I want to talk about Trump a little bit more and some of the things that he's doing, like you know some of the stuff with the Treasury, with the Fed, but also some of his diplomatic things that he's doing. Because I've seen people making comments that he should not focus so much on foreign relations because he's doing so at the expense of, what's going on in the US. I think that
Oh,
you
so you're talking
probably
about Nick Fuentes and those guys?
maybe I'm not naming names. I'm taking so much heat for calling out the mean girl that I'm
Oh,
not going to name.
there's no shortage of shills out there throwing shade on Trump because he's not doing things the right way.
Right, right. So let's talk about that because he's been he's making deals with Saudi Arabia, making deals with Qatar, making that kind of thing. And so there are people who are saying he's spending so much time and energy on foreign relations, and then of course Jared Kushner, bad guy, right? That kind of thing. I wanted to get your take on it, and I have a feeling a lot of people will appreciate your take on the fact that he is focusing a lot on foreign policy. And because you've written a number of books about Q, and Q did talk about some of those things, um, let us know where you think we are in the scheme of things with that, and why Trump
Okay.
is putting so much focus on that. And for
That-
those
that's-
people who are giving me flack for talking, I'm not going to stop. We're having a conversation, but now it's Dave's turn. I'm really sassy
I'm
today.
sorry if you don't like Mary Grace talking. There are
I'm
some people who don't like me talking, so
I'm salty today. I'm like,
it goes
I'm
both
over
ways.
it.
I
Yeah.
noticed it.
Okay.
All right. So where are we at with Trump, foreign policy, domestic
Yeah.
policy, all that? Let's look at the big picture. Zoom out. Look at things from the 40,000-foot view. What is happening geopolitically around the world, and how is Trump responding to all that stuff?
Yeah.
There's a lot going on right now. So let's hit some bullet points that'll help us characterize what Trump is doing geopolitically around the world in general terms. He has made a lot of effort to end longstanding wars in Africa, in Asia, and other places, right? So that's one of his little, signature things is he's ended 7, 8 wars. Cambodia and Thailand.
He's 8.
Yeah, he had brought that fighting to an end, but the problem with the Cambodia Thailand thing is it is a long-standing war, and it's really just a border skirmish between kind of tribal people. It's not a declared war. It's not like the two presidents of Cambodia and Thailand are using their military forces to attack each other. It's very small, low-level engagement with a few dozen people. So it's not a huge issue, but Trump is doing what he can to try to prevent those types of skirmishes from escalating. Pakistan and India, another cross-border conflict, another conflict that has been going on for a long time. Same kind of a thing. It's low-level conflict. It is a few small groups of people taking shots at each other across the border in disputed territory. All right. That thing escalated for a while, was getting to the point of potentially major armed conflict and eventually nuclear conflict. And Trump had to step in with Pakistan and India and put that thing to bed and get it over with. Right. So Trump has been doing everything he can to try to bring peace to these countries whose nature is war. And we've got the same thing going on in Africa. There's been war going on there. Trump is doing whatever he can. And Marco Rubio, State Department, to his credit, has been working hard with people like Kushner and Witkoff to get in there and do the things that diplomats are supposed to do to bring plans for peace, disarmament, eventually get a ceasefire, and potentially sign some kind of a long-term peace agreement. Trump has been working hard to do this stuff. And who doesn't want to live in a world where there's fewer wars and there's actually some peace for a while? Imagine what it would be like if Trump could get Zelensky and Putin to sign a peace agreement and to stop the war in Ukraine. He would go down as one of the greatest presidents in the history. I mean, he probably will anyway, but imagine
he already is.
Imagine his legacy if he could get that war ended and prevent any other major wars from starting while he's in office for the next 3 years. So there's on the international military conflict side, Trump is trying to do a lot because he sees himself as a peacetime president. So yes, he is working tirelessly through his people to bring these wars to an end. I think he wants to get us out of Syria. And last night we had 3 Americans killed in Syria. 3 other people were injured. And then today there were more people killed in Syria. Yeah. And there's some disagreement about who these people are with. Are they ISIS fighters or are they actually under Jolani, the Syrian president? It's not clear who these people are with. Trump has vowed that ISIS is going to pay a steep price for it. What we've seen is that Trump is withdrawing the U.S. forces from places like Somalia. He's drawing down troops in the Middle East. He's trying to get us out of these skirmishes. Essentially, a lot of this is just tribal skirmishes between warring factions in Syria, Lebanon, Iran, Iraq. These countries are run by various warring Islamic factions for the most part. And Trump's people and Trump and his people know it's in our best interest to get ourselves out, to extract ourselves, so we're not in these crazy situations where our people are getting killed. And that requires a lot of diplomacy, and that requires a plan to maybe help stabilize the region a little bit before we withdraw our presence from those areas, so that they don't erupt into massive armed conflict again. And we're back at the place where Israel and Iran are ready to kill each other. We have to avoid that kind of thing from happening. Now, the other thing that Trump is doing is he is giving legs to the Monroe Doctrine. All right. So back in the colonial days, the leaders here in the United States saw Spain and Great Britain and France colonializing the Western Hemisphere. And they thought, that's not in our best interest. We should probably not have that happening. So the American elected leaders issued President Monroe issued he wrote what is called the Monroe Doctrine. And the Monroe Doctrine is basically, it was a document that established a philosophical framework for safeguarding the Western Hemisphere against colonization by Europe. And we basically said, look, you have no business coming down here with your boats and colonizing these areas. Stay the heck out. We'll take care of our part of the world. You take care of your part of the world, right? Well, Trump is putting that back into effect in Central America and South America because he has realized that China and Iran and Russia and other places have taken control of nations like Venezuela and Colombia and Panama through influence operations, and China's Belt and Road Initiative, where they come in and they'll build your ports and they'll build your roads and they'll build your infrastructure and they'll loan you the money at a very low interest rate. And then when you can't pay back the loans, they seize the assets that they built and now they own them. So Trump has seen this going on in Central and South America, and he has essentially reestablished the Monroe Doctrine, where he's telling these other nations, you're not going to be doing nation building in our hemisphere anymore. It's coming to an end. You are using them to launder money, to produce drugs,
Right.
float it into our country to kill our people, and it's not going to be allowed anymore. We're putting a stop to it. So why is the Carrier Strike Group and all of this military hardware sitting down there in the Caribbean? Because we're putting an end to the infiltration of the Western Hemisphere by Russia and China and Iran and other bad actors. That is Trump looking out for the best interests of our people. And the same kind of idea is behind Trump's overtures toward Greenland and other places. He wants Russia and China and these other countries to stop meddling. Canada is a really good example. I'm just going to come out and say it. Canada is influenced more by China than any other country. Canadian politicians have been bought and paid for by China, just in the same way that Dianne Feinstein and other California politicians, Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
Why did Gavin Newsom clean up the streets of Los Angeles when President Xi came to visit? Newsom cleared up all the homeless encampments, got rid of all the garbage, all the crap, made the streets of LA look pristine for about 4 days while President Xi was visiting. Why did Newsom do that? Because Xi is his boss. And in the same way that Xi owns a lot of California politicians, he owns a lot of Canadian politicians. And Trump knows that. And Trump is doing whatever he can to try to cut off China's infiltration of the Western Hemisphere. So when people get all antsy and nervous about Trump getting involved in international politics and not taking care of domestic policy, I'm sorry, folks, but if Trump doesn't confront China and Russia and Iran and back them off, we are going to be speaking Chinese in about 10 years.
Yeah.
It has to stop. And Trump is not being an imperialist. He's not trying to do nation building. He's not starting wars that are unnecessary. He's trying to end wars, get our troops out of these places, and take care of our business, things that directly impact our national security. I'll land it there.
Good. I love it. And, I'm glad you came around to the money laundering because, one of the big things that he's been doing is addressing and dealing with the money laundering. And as long as we have wars around the country, newsflash, many of the wars are, if not started, are definitely stoked by our own intelligence agencies and the global intelligence agencies. And so again, it's big. It's like one big club and we're not in it. And as long as they can continue getting money to finance these wars and buy their Bugattis and drive around Monte Carlo in them, they're going to keep doing that because they're financing their lifestyle.
Yes, let me make a real quick
Yeah.
illustration of something. All right. Regarding foreign wars that the United States has been involved in, many of which were either started by or propagated by the CIA. So it's pretty well known during the Vietnam War
Hmm.
that the CIA had a drug operation where they were growing and harvesting and selling marijuana from Laos and Cambodia and Thailand and Vietnam, and they're bringing it to the West. That was where the CIA started its drug operation, its illicit drug operation during the Vietnam War. They took that model and they franchised it. When we went in to Central America in the 70s and 80s, and we had our little wars going on down there, what were they doing? They were harvesting cocaine and they were bringing it into the country and they were selling it. CIA had a drug operation in Central America during the 70s and 80s. In the global war on terror in Afghanistan, what were they doing? They were growing and harvesting poppy fields for the opium trade. They were processing heroin. The CIA had our special operators guarding poppy fields in Afghanistan, which was their crop, and they were harvesting it, and the CIA was making money. They had a drug ring operation. All right. Our foreign wars have had a lot of just crappy things that have happened alongside of the military conflict that had nothing to do with military conflict. It had to do with CIA's illicit agendas. Unlike all the other drug wars that the Bushes and all the other Clintons and people have pounded their chest about, Trump is actually trying to stop the propagation of cocaine and fentanyl coming into our country and killing our people.
Yeah.
He is running an actual drug war. He's trying to put the drug lords out of business. He's not facilitating them. He's not funding them. He's not backing them militarily. He's trying to put them out of business.
You know what I think is funny? It makes me laugh every time is when people they go on the news and they unironically say, but how do we know it wasn't a fisherman? Like we can't be sure. I'm like, guys,
how do we know that this boat with 4 200 horsepower engines on the back that's capable of driving 200 miles an hour wasn't just some fisherman?
And I'm like, do you understand that we have the technology to look at Juan's nose hairs? Okay.
Yes.
We know we know what's in his phone. We know his every move. We know before they get on the boat that they're not
reading his text messages as he's loading his boat.
Yeah.
They're literally reading his text messages.
So yeah, we know, like we're 100% sure. And if somebody doesn't quite get completely blown up on the first strike, we're not going to bring them to the hospital and ask them, are you sure you're not just a fisherman?
You know,
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing. I mean, yeah, it's unfortunate that they've chosen this path in life, but actions do have consequences, and we're in the FO stage of this. So,
Yes, we are.
you could have chosen not to get on that boat, but
Right.
there you are.
You've seen 11 other boats just like yours get destroyed by Hellfire missiles from above, and you're going to take your boat out and think you're going to be the one that's going to make it.
Yeah.
Okay. You were warned.
Yeah, not a good day for you. Yeah.
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
That's right. That's right.
know.
So no, there's no due process for these guys because they've seen how many other boats get blown up.
And look, from a logistical standpoint, when the Air Force sends a Reaper drone out to fire a Hellfire missile on a boat, that drone doesn't have anyone aboard it. It is a drone. It's going to go out there, find a target, and drop some, Hellfire missiles on that thing until it's gone. It has no ability to rescue anyone.
Yeah.
It's a search and destroy mission, and that's it. That's all it does.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
people complaining that, oh, we should try to rescue them. Well, sorry, but that's not how war works.
You know what I didn't have on my bingo card like ever was Nicki Minaj dragging
I
Gavin
don't know.
Newsom and becoming a surrogate for JD Vance 2028.
I don't know. I
I
don't know.
just and
Um,
we're living in very interesting times.
we are living in strange times for sure.
And an entire weekend of memery with JD Vance and Nicki Minaj, like and using the meme that the left created, whatever, if you can call it created, the JD Vance meme that has become the most iconic piece of meme work that I've seen in so long. That's the centerpiece of this operation. I don't know. And some of you have no idea what I'm talking about, but if you're watching this, I just like our next president is going to be lit. That's all I'm going to say.
I think he's being well instructed
Yeah.
by his mentor,
Yeah.
and he'll have some fun when he gets into the Oval Office.
I think he's going to and I mean talk about like the gloves are off. It's just but I mean, I just didn't have that on my list for Nicki Minaj to be the one that could possibly bring down Gavin Newsom.
Yeah. Well, this is just a year of strange things happening.
It
And
is, yeah.
year's not over yet.
No, it's not. So I think it's very interesting. I mean, and I don't know. Let me give you a little backstory here. So Nicki Minaj is a female rapper, and she was really concerned about the persecution of Christians in Nigeria, and so there was story out about it within the last 6 weeks, and so she posted about it, and I think did she quote tweet she thanked President Trump for
she
bringing
did. One of the wars that Trump
Yeah.
is doing everything
Yeah.
he can to try to bring to an end, and the persecution and killing of
And-
Christians.
And then, her fan base, many of whom are leftists and, indoctrinated, just had a full-on meltdown over the fact that she thanked the president for bringing attention to the slaughter and persecution of Christians, Black Christians,
Right.
in Nigeria.
How could she?
And she was like, what? And she
Right.
did not back off. She didn't apologize. She didn't respond to the struggle session. And she's doubled down now, which, you don't have to like her music, but that's the kind of strength we need to save this country.
Yep.
She's not afraid of being canceled, and she's doubling down, and she's going after Newsom on the trans issue.
Did
So-
you hear about Liam Neeson?
No!
Guess
I
who's
have a
gonna be-
very particular set of skills. Go ahead.
Guess who's narrating a documentary about RFK Jr. and his war against Big Pharma? Yeah, go check it out. It's all over X.
I love him. I want to watch that movie now. You know the movie, right? I possess a particular set of skills. Like I can kill you with my bare hands.
Right.
Liam Neeson.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm familiar. I haven't seen the film, but I'm familiar with the reference.
You know what? It's such a good movie about the Father's love for I mean, any Christian who doesn't quite understand how much God loves you, watch that movie, Taken, because it like when you talk about how God pursues you to the ends of the earth, even in spite of your own stupidity and poor choices, that is a really good allegory for that. It's a really good movie. And some heads get broken, and there's a lot of, play stupid games, win stupid prizes moments in the movie. So if you like that kind of thing, fantastic, great movie. And it's Liam Neeson. That's really good to hear about. You'll
have to check it out. Just go on X and hit Liam Neeson and look at all the headlines that are put out. He's people are kind of surprised that he's willing to take on that project. I don't know what his politics are, but apparently He's with Maha.
Good. I think some of the older actors and celebrities are at the I don't care point, because they don't have to prove themselves. I think it's harder for the younger people who
Yeah,
are coming up in
it,
any field, in any career.
you're risking your career
Well,
if you
well, yeah.
take the wrong view on things.
Yeah, and if you have a family and you want to support your family, I understand how it's harder. But that being said, our founding fathers, we call them founding fathers, but some of them were like barely out of short pants, you know. They were
I know.
they were
I
like
know. A lot of our
19.
founding fathers were literally like 19, 20,
Yeah,
21-year-old guys.
they
Like,
they I mean, they weren't even shaving yet, you know?
I
And,
know. It's crazy.
yeah, so we think of them
I think
as
Alexander Hamilton was 27. He was one of the older guys in the group.
yeah, who was the youngest? I think was Ben Franklin a little bit older?
Yeah, I think
Um,
so. Yeah.
yeah, and, it's interesting because I grew up, just a few miles from, um, Monticello, and, so my whole life, we were thinking about um, Mr. Jefferson, right?
Right.
But you
Right.
always thought of him in the age that he was when he founded the university, right? And so you kind of have this image of him as, a father. But even then he was like in his 30s, right? And when he
Yeah.
was the ambassador to France, and then when he, in the 1800s when he commissioned Lewis and Clark for the westward expansion, all of that, like it's like, but he was a lot younger when he penned the Declaration of Independence. So it's just we kind of forget that. Um, so it's a different world now. We're in such a different world. But I
It's
do
getting
think,
more different. It's getting more different all the time, and it's changing rapidly. Uh, the the ramp up in the use of AI is kind of scary. Like Denise and I are trying to make the best of this AI
mhm,
world. I know there are a lot of people who have fears and concerns about AI taking over, the society and destroying humanity. It's totally possible. It could
mhm,
happen. Look, I've seen the Terminator films. I know how that stuff goes.
mhm,
But but on the other hand, um, AI is a tool, like any other tool, like money. Money is a tool.
mhm.
Like there's people out there who literally think that money is evil. Like
Yeah,
money is literally of the devil. Money is not of the devil. It is a tool. It's like a hammer. It's like a gun. It's like a pen. You can take a
yeah,
pen and you can use a pen to write terrible, horrible, disgusting things
mhm,
and influence people in a negative way. You can also use a pen to write beautiful, inspiring things to influence people in a positive way. A pen is a tool, money is a tool, and AI is a tool.
yeah,
Um, AI in the hands of evil people is going to be used for evil, but AI in the hands of good people can be used for good. And Denise and I are trying to
yeah,
figure out, like, walk the line, like, what is the best use of AI
mhm.
since it's here, since it's not going to go away anytime soon, as far as we know, unless someone pulls the plug on everything. Um,
Um, Speaking of AI, did you know that Melania is spearheading the presidential AI challenge?
no.
Yeah, so I'll show you this. This is AI.gov, and this is a
Oh,
challenge. There's a link, you can go there, okay? And it is it's that, it can be addressed, used to harness to address emerging local, state, and regional problems, driving innovation and the renewal of America in our nation's golden age. The presidential AI challenge seeks to inspire young people and educators to create AI-based innovative solutions to community challenges while fostering AI interest and competency. So, and this is in connection with the America 250 celebration.
right.
So go there, AI.gov. And like I said, Melania is spearheading this. So it fits right in with what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Well, AI has a lot of it has a lot of good uses. Like Denise right now is dealing with this problem between her two computers. She's got two Mac computers, one in her studio, one behind me in
Mhm.
our office, and she's got problems with the file system, the way the files are organized. So
Mhm.
she's on Grok asking Grok, "Hey, I got this
Yeah.
problem. Like, I can't do this, and I can't find this, and I can't figure this out. Can you give me some troubleshooting tips?" And Grok's like,
Mhm.
"Heck yeah! Here's some. Try this and try this and do this and do that." Me personally, I'm I'm trying to help build out this mesh network in the Phoenix area.
Mhm.
It's an off-grid communication network using low power radios. And I'm not an electrical engineer. I'm not a I don't understand a whole lot about radio technology and all this. So I'm on Chat GPT. All right, Chat GPT, riddle me this. I have this radio and I want to, give it, I want to take some batteries and put the batteries
Mhm.
together to make a
Mhm.
bigger battery pack to give it more power. I need a bigger solar panel. Help me engineer this new design. And Chat GPT is like, okay, here you go. Here's the solar panel options, and here's the battery options, and here's how to
Mhm.
put them together correctly so you're not going to kill yourself. And here's all the things you need to
Does that
consider.
include not climbing up cliffs?
And ChatGPT, I told ChatGPT that Denise put a moratorium on me climbing up in deadly places. And so as I'm building out this network, ChatGPT is like, oh yeah, and by the way, Dave, don't go climbing anywhere dangerous. Make sure you get some young guy to do it who's,
That's right, with a drone.
right. So like I said, we're trying to find positive ways to integrate. And honestly, ChatGPT is like so good. Like here's another example. I started getting email notifications in my inbox about the fact that my mailbox was full on my server for the prayingmedic.com website.
Oh, okay.
I'm getting all these return email, mailbox full,
Mm,
mailbox full, mailbox full. And I'm like, oh gosh, this is
that's
going to take me like
annoying.
a day or two to troubleshoot this.
Yeah.
I got a Chat GPT. I said, hey, I have a WordPress website. It's hosted on SiteGround. All
Mhm.
my email is funneled into my Proton Mail account. And I'm getting these error messages.
Yeah.
Here's an error message. How do I troubleshoot this? And in 10 seconds, ChatGPT says, that's easy. Go into your SiteGround account, click on the WordPress admin thing, go to your website thing, go to your email thing, and delete this email inbox. If you have all of your emails automatically being come into your Proton Mail, you don't need that email inbox.
Hmm,
Delete it, and you will not get those messages anymore, and it will
interesting.
stop sending the errors. So I deleted the inbox, the mailbox on
Yeah.
SiteGround, and boom, problem solved. ChatGPT literally fixed this thing for me in like 2 minutes. And I was like, awesome.
Yeah, it's good. Oh, by the way, if anybody who has Venmo, there's a free you can get a free year of Perplexity AI with Venmo, with your Venmo account. Um, so that's kind of interesting. One of the things that is useful with AI is that you can get AI to summarize videos for you. So, for example,
Yeah.
if you're doing a lot of online research and learning, and you don't, you want to listen, but you don't want to take notes, you just want to listen, whatever, you can put videos like this one into AI and ask for a summary, and you can instruct it on what exactly you want to highlight, for example. And so you can tell it, you can guide the AI. Somebody was saying that so for example, one of our listeners on Rumble was saying you can program Grok to be constitutionalist and non-globalist oriented. You can give it your favorite authors and sources to reference.
Yep.
So things like that, because AI is teachable. And
AI,
yeah.
AI, if you're going to have a productive session with AI, you have to give AI good prompts. My prompts are very long and very detailed. When I'm doing
Mhm.
this radio stuff,
Okay.
yesterday I was talking to ChatGPT about this radio, prototype radio that I'm building, has a very
Mhm.
big battery and a solar panel and all this. And I had to write out all this detailed information, how I connect these wires together in parallel, what they're going into, what the voltage is, the solar panel, how it connects in, how I put this together in an enclosure, how the enclosure is assembled, I keep it waterproof, how the antenna port comes out. If you're gonna use AI, you have to give AI very good, detailed, specific prompts. You'll get good information out if you get good information, put good information in. If you are lazy and can't articulate clearly what you want the AI to do,
Right.
it's going to give you crappy generic responses.
So that brings me to something interesting. My friend Anne is she loves AI, and she's teaches AI, and she uses AI to help with her kids' homeschooling. And she was talking to me about how you can create your own like AI persona, I guess.
Yeah,
So that if we're and you can even create sub personas. So you can create um a Dave's mesh network. So that AI can be specifically focused on that part of your work.
right.
And so and I'm going to share Anne's stuff. I'm going to share her stuff, not today, but I will be sharing it because she's developing a course so that people who, especially 40 and older, who may not be as comfortable or familiar, to take out a lot of the mystique around it, because she's spent time figuring it out and
Yeah.
working and applying it in real life. So I think it's going to be good. I think she's going to be able to help a lot of people because she's very passionate about it. Because it's like Dave says, it's a tool that it's here. It's been here for a long time, but it's
It has been here for a long time.
yeah.
But people don't realize they've been
Mhm.
interacting with AI for a long time. If you use spell check in Microsoft Word, spell check is a machine learning. It's an AI program
Yeah.
that corrects your spelling and language, grammar, punctuation, all that, right? I mean, Grammarly, same thing. I have been using Grammarly for years. All the people that I know who are writers, I tell them, look, before you publish anything, have it edited. But if you can't have it edited, at least run it through Grammarly. It'll do good checking on punctuation, grammar, spelling, sentence structure. It's AI. It's machine learning.
Yeah.
We've been using it. Most of us have been using it for a long time. We don't even know it.
Mhm. Yeah, somebody just brought up Ask Jeeves. Do you remember that?
Ask Jeeves.
From the dial-up days.
Well, Google
So
search has always been AI. Most people,
mhm,
it just didn't advertise itself as
mhm.
AI. Really.
Well, the other thing that's AI is the, what do you call it? Data mining. That's been around for quite some time. The systems that my first exposure to it was in the grocery industry, with the little scan tags where they began to mine the information about people's shopping habits. And now it seems second nature that you would go to the store or that you would get messages on your phone about sales for items that you bought in the past. But
Right.
in the early days of data mining, when they first started using the QR codes and the scan tags, that's what they were doing. They were collecting information about shopping and buying habits to tailor the experience to individuals. And now we have geotagging. So if you're walking or driving past a store, you might get a message about something that's a special happening at that store, and to get you in the door. That's all data. That's all AI, and it started with this concept that we call data mining.
I want to just really quickly do a plug for a film that you might want to consider watching. I just watched. It's an older film from, I don't know, 2005 or something, called Minority Report with Tom Cruise.
Oh,
Um, Minority Report is a very interesting film. Like I said, it's a little bit older, but it's based on a short story by Philip Dick. And I read this short story in an anthology that Philip Dick wrote, And then I saw the film, and the film is way better than the short story, because the short story is like 6 chapters, and it was kind of a half-baked short story. Didn't have a lot of, it wasn't well developed characters and plotline and all that. The movie is great, and if you're interested in where AI might go in the future, talking about shopping and online and how does it know where I am, you want to see that on full display. Minority Report has a very interesting, it's kind of a dystopian future type of a film. Tom Cruise is really good as the main character. The storyline is good. The acting is good. There's brilliant use of themes throughout the film. I really like it, and it is an interesting look at the potential future of AI and things related to that. So there you go. Minority Report. You can probably stream it if you do a streaming service.
Could.
In doing some research for the science fiction books that I'm working on, I'm looking at recent science fiction films and seeing what is the storytelling like, how are they building the characters, what are the thematic things that they're doing, background information, all that. Because steal like a pro.
That's your book.
Obturious.
Yeah.
Science fiction book.
Speaking of science fiction, and this is why you're doing the research.
Yes.
So it's one in a 3-part series, and it
is one in a 3-part series
right there, which is why Dave's doing the research. I recently watched a Tom Cruise movie that had nothing to do with anything except adventure and knocking things down and action. It was night and day. It was so good with what's her name? Who's that actress? Shoot.
I don't know. I didn't see the film. Is it called Night and Day? Is that the
yes, it's Knight and Day. Such
Okay.
a good movie. Who is that actress? Everybody knows who I'm talking about. Let me know in the chat because I'm drawing Cameron
I'm
Diaz.
going to say Anne Hathaway.
Cameron Diaz. It's
go.
just, if you want a lighthearted movie that's not woke, that's just a fun adventure caper with some car chases and things crashing, and a little romance. Good movie, great movie, and nobody gets offended. It's just a good movie. That's it was before they had to insert all the wokeness in every movie. Really good. Warren is over there, and thank you, Warren. Warren's being very nice to me in Rumble.
I'm glad that Warren is being nice to you.
He is, because people are kind of being mean, but it's okay.
It's all right.
Yeah, we have people like Warren to have our backs. What was I going to show you? Oh, speaking of streaming, I have a little rant, and I'll tell you what it is.
Okay.
What the heck, Amazon? If you have Amazon Prime, you're supposed to have movies. So what's the point of logging into Amazon Prime and every single movie is either rent or buy? What exactly am I paying for?
It's kind of like every other rug pull that they pull on you. Back in the days when people actually had cable television, they told us, if you pay the monthly fee to have the cable TV, you won't have commercials. And then they rug pulled us and started dropping in commercials anyway, because they needed to make some money with some advertising. Yeah. Well, and then you get YouTube. YouTube says, hey, if you pay for a subscription, you won't get commercials. That's what they do. They always tell you, pay for the subscription. It'll be so much better and stuff will be free and you won't have this. And they lie to you. They rug pull you every single time. It's like, hey, wait a minute. This is not what I signed up for.
Yeah. And in our area, at least for the holidays, I don't think it's necessarily because of the holidays. I think it's because a lot of the drivers they were using were actually here illegally, but they're no longer even pretending to give us 2-day Prime. They don't even talk about that anymore. Remember that 2-day Prime? No, nothing. There's no next.
There's no mention of that. It's not a thing anymore.
And just a few months ago, it was, you could get, hey, get this. Not even a month ago, you can get this today if you order it by this amount at this time. Nope, 5 days. We've got Amazon 5-day Prime now. At least I,
5-day Prime.
I'm
No,
not
I think I'm going to go to the hardware store and I'll just buy it there. It's down the street.
right. I'm not even kidding. Come on, Amazon.
Hey, they just put in an Ace Hardware store, literally like right down the street from me, and I'm so excited because I'm actually
Oh,
going down there now instead of buying crap on Amazon. I'm like, no, I'm going to go down to the Ace Hardware store.
you're
Get my
so
corner pants.
lucky. I have
Oh,
a mini Ace Hardware store in my utility room, and it's called Raised by War Era Dad. And so there's drawers full of things that
cool.
that never got thrown away or got bought and saved. And for example,
Uh,
one day we needed a hose washer, and of course I'm thinking, oh, I got to go to Lowe's. And then my dad disappears into the utility room, into the government surplus drawer thing that's in there, and he comes out with a whole pack
hose
of
washer.
hose washers. And and I'm going, this is the advantage of living with somebody who's 88. Yeah, you need a string, you need tape, you need a hose washer,
You know where it is.
you need a piece of plumbing paraphernalia. It's go in that government surplus area, and it's there. We have government surplus lockers outside. Actually, his work locker, it has his name on it. It's like, the lockers now people buy, like,
Yeah.
for decorating. We have the real ones. Yeah, his locker was number 8.
Wow. Cool.
It's still got the label maker. It's got all the names on it. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah. From his FEMA days. He was in FEMA, but he wasn't in the woke FEMA. He was in the FEMA that actually got
The
things
old
done.
school FEMA where people actually signed on to help others.
Yeah, he was deployed a lot. Like, I mean, he was gone. You know how they took forever to deploy for Hurricane Helene? It was so crazy because when we were growing up, he had a go bag ready all the time, and if a disaster happened, sometimes we would get home from school and he wouldn't even be here
Right.
because he would have an hour. It was like military. It was like
Right.
special forces. He would have an hour to, get home, get his bag, and go. And then we didn't know when we'd see him again.
Well,
That was the actual FEMA, what they did, because he was in frontline communications. And again, so like here's how I this is why I got so pissed off about Helene, is that his very first job when he got on the ground was to set up the communications for the agency. And so even 30 years ago, 25 years ago, they would have all of the comms set up the minute they got on the ground. And so to say that there was no comms in Helene, in North Carolina, I'm sorry, I'm calling BS on that.
yeah.
They had the
Sure.
technology even then,
We
hardwired.
have satellite phones now, so
Yeah.
there's no way you can say that they didn't have the ability to communicate.
Yeah, crazy. Absolutely crazy. So but he was, he served under, I don't know how many presidents, but lots. We have a lot of commendation letters and things like that. So it's kind of cool. Plus, he was really like, if you ever needed to get your telephone line hooked up and the telephone company couldn't come right away, he may or may not have been able to access those trunk lines. I'm just saying.
Well, that's an interesting thing because my mother and all of her sisters worked for Wisconsin Bell Telephone because their father was a regional director for Wisconsin Bell back in the 40s, 50s when they were youngsters. And they had every thing that you could know about telephones and AT&T stock and Bell stock and all that. Yeah, interesting. The good old days.
Yeah. Okay, Dave. What else?
I don't know.
Well, do you want to talk about your next thing that may be coming out? Or
Yeah, we can do that.
let's talk about it.
All right. I talked about it on the live stream yesterday. The live stream did not record. So for those of you who missed the live stream yesterday, we're going to have a couple of new books coming out. I don't have a published date on them yet. We don't do, hey, we're going to launch it on this day. That's not our business model. We don't publish through an actual publishing company. We don't have that timeline. So whenever I get the manuscript finished, whenever Denise gets done flowing it into InDesign, has the cover design, we get it all put together, that's when we publish. And we can never predict how long that's going to take. Especially since I have a lot of irons in the fire right now with other things going on. So 2 books coming out on spiritual warfare. 2 books. 2 different books are
I
coming
thought
out.
it was. I didn't know it was 2.
It's 2.
Okay.
So
Yay.
I have to explain why. We're going to publish 1 book, hopefully by the end of the month. And then the other book will be published several weeks later. Right. So I only let you know about the 1, but there's 2 coming out.
Okay.
So there's 2 books on spiritual warfare that I'm working on, and they cover different
Mhm.
types of spiritual warfare. Spiritual warfare is a huge issue. There's a lot of material that I
Yeah.
want to put out.
Yeah.
The first book is going to cover specific types of evil spirits, demons, if you prefer. And it's going to describe the schemes and devices and the ways you can recognize certain evil spirits and how you can avoid coming under their influence. And if you're under their influence, how to get free of it. And there's all kinds of different evil spirits. It's Jezebel's spirit, the religious spirit, spirits of infirmity. There's all different kinds of spirits, evil spirits and demons that are out there. And so the first book is going to look at all of these different types of evil spirits, how they influence us, and how we can get free of their influence or stay free of their influence. That's book 1.
Okay.
Book 2 is going to take a look at spiritual warfare from a tactical perspective. Okay, so now when I say tactical, there are tactical weapons we can use to wage spiritual warfare. Prophetic intercession is one. Worship is warfare. It is a tactical response to the demonic oppression of the kingdom of darkness, right? Territorial, going out, waging warfare against territorial spirits. Praying in tongues, right? These are all tactics that we can use to wage spiritual warfare. The second book is going to be about the tactics of spiritual warfare. So 2 different things. One is about tactical methods of warfare, and the first one is going to be about different types of evil spirits and how to kick them to the curb, right? So first book, we're hoping is going to be out by the end of the year. We'll see how that goes. I'm going through, I'm just doing one last reread, doing some wordsmithing, trying to get the ideas firmed up before I give it to Denise. But we're going to try to have that first book out by the end of the month, and then the second book maybe in January or February.
So to sum it up, the first book is sort of the what, and the second one is the how to.
There is
kind of.
Yes, but there is a lot of how to in the first book.
Okay.
There are specific strategies in the first book about how to kick out evil spirits that are harassing you, whether it's a spirit of witchcraft or a spirit of divination or a religious spirit. I mean, there are steps in the first book that instruct you how to exercise authority, right, and get rid of these evil spirits. But the second book is kind of it's a broader approach to general spiritual warfare, not necessarily against a specific evil spirit, but spiritual warfare in general.
Yeah. That's exciting.
Yeah,
well, hopefully we'll get it by the end of the month. And if you do, then we're gonna
I dang well better tell you so we can do a show and launch it.
We're gonna launch it because we've launched almost all of your recent books in the past 2 years on
That
the
is
Mary
true.
Grace Show.
That is true.
And we don't want to break the track record. It would be awesome for a lot of reasons, though, if you could get it done by the end of the year. And it would definitely give people something to have going into the new year, which is a good thing to have in your arsenal as we start a new year, especially given what we think is going to be a pretty challenging time for our country because of the continued fight that we've been discussing and we
Yeah.
know is happening.
Well, and I feel like these
Yeah.
books are coming at an important time. I think that um, we are coming into a period of time where a lot of people are going to need access to information, strategies, and tactics for waging spiritual warfare, because I feel like our country is under greater attack now than it has been in recent history.
Yeah,
So,
I think so too. And it's becoming clear that there are bigger designs on our country than a lot of people have been aware of, than some people have been aware of. I've been aware of it. You've been aware of it,
yeah.
but it's becoming more in your face. And I think that people are going to have to be armed and ready
Yeah.
to deal with what's coming and to have boldness. I'm really praying that more people, especially Christians, will operate in boldness because the time for live and let live and not making waves and not wanting to cause a problem or anything, we're so far past that, guys.
I think we are. I think that we've
You
crossed the Rubicon.
yeah, you got to stick your neck out. Otherwise, you're not going to have one.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
I mean, I don't know how much more blunt I can be. I mean, I found out 10 years ago I was on an ISIS kill list,
Yeah.
and I'm probably still on it, and I'm probably going to be on more lists.
And look, Denise and I have suffered cancel culture like probably nobody else.
Yeah,
We have been debanked, we've been deplatformed, we have had death threats against us and our family members. We have been through the mud. All right. And
Yeah.
I can tell you this, having been through it, you will survive it. You will get out of it. You'll, on the other side, you'll look back and go, you know what? It wasn't that bad. I survived it, and I'm a wiser person for it. We're all going to eventually experience persecution and harassment. And we're all going to, God does need us to, at times, take a bold stand for righteousness and truth and justice. He needs bold warriors to go out onto that battlefield and wage spiritual warfare. I'm not talking about taking up arms against other people. I'm talking about speaking the truth in love, speaking with conviction, not cowering in front of the world powers that are threatening to throw us off of social media. And by the way, it's pretty clear now that the European Union is going to try to bankrupt companies like X and Telegram by fining them
Rumble.
for not bowing down and not censoring free speech.
Yeah.
That's coming. So the EU just was $160 million fine they laid on X because they refused to censor certain accounts, and they're not bending the knee.
Mm-hmm.
We may lose these platforms in the near future because if the owners and the CEOs refuse to bend the knee to the censorship regime, it's going to be hard to find places where you can actually connect with people. That's coming. Get ready for it. Elon's been warning about it, and it's not a threat. Pavel Durov just got released from prison in France. They just let him go finally, but it's going to get worse.
Yeah. And this is what I think it is important to remember, that even though, I mean, Trump won this election, there's so much more. And it's what we call a zero-sum game. There's
It is a
only
zero-sum game. There's
there's
only
only
going to be one winner.
one winner, and there's no
Yep.
second place
Yep.
for the preservation of all of Western civilization. And UK and UK and Europe are hopefully not lost, but President Trump is talking about making an alliance with Italy and Hungary and Poland. Who else? What's the other country?
The free nations.
Yeah, taking them, getting them away from the EU
Yeah.
because of how devastating the EU has been for Christendom and Western civilization. It's very
Yep.
serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, and Trump he just put out it's a national strategic defense policy. Trump issued it last week, and Denmark issued theirs, and countries are putting out their kind of their national strategic defense policy.
yeah,
And Trump, for the first time as an American president, has said that we are seriously questioning the future of our alliances and allegiances to other countries, particularly countries in Europe,
yeah,
because they may not exist in any kind of a reasonable form in the future because they're on a path of self-destruction.
well,
And those countries are responding by basically coming out and saying that they see us as a potential security threat.
right.
So
To be clear, it's looking like these countries will become part of an Islamic caliphate.
Possibly.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
Look, people, we have dangerous times ahead. The powers that should not be are hard at work trying to destroy the free nations, and we got to be prayed up. We got to be praying every day that these people do not achieve their objectives.
Yeah. Well, let's not leave the show on a downer.
Hey, come on! I'm not a black pillar.
It's Christmas time. It's the truth. It's the truth. So we do have to be awake. Don't be scared. Be prepared. And this is the Christmas season. I will recommend that anybody who is not quite sure whether God is sovereign from beginning to end, I recommend that you go and listen to the entirety of Handel's Messiah, because the entire scripture and the entire message of salvation is laid out. If you've never listened to the words, it's scripture, just pure scripture from beginning to end. And my favorite recording is the Academy of Ancient Music with Christopher Hogwood at King's College, Cambridge. And it's hard to get, but you can listen to it online. And I think if you want to dial down and really focus on who God is and what it is that he did from the very beginning, before the foundation of the world, partake of that beautiful work of art and let it soak in. And people think of the Messiah as just the one song, right? But there's so much more. The entire work of Handel's Messiah is the redemption story from before the foundation of the world. It's fantastic.
It is. And
now I want to sing, "For the Lord God omnipotent reigneth." Okay.
I think that's a very good recommendation. And in closing, I feel like I should give a word of encouragement.
Yes, please do.
Look, Mary and I are not here to black pill you. We're not here to post and spread doom and gloom. We're trying to provide factual information and an opinion and commentary and insight on what we think is happening, what we think is going on, and what potentially could happen in the future. But we have to factor into all of this the reality that God has a plan. And it's not enough to just say God is in control, because God has given us authority. Jesus said that all authority under heaven and earth has been given to him, and he has commissioned us to go out and make disciples, and he has given us authority over all the power of the enemy. So merely saying when things look dark, oh, God's in control, that's not enough. God isn't just in control. God has a plan. He has a specific plan that he's trying to work out. And he knows what that plan is. We don't necessarily know. I get glimpses of it in dreams. I see little glimpses of God's plan for me. And sometimes I see glimpses of the bigger plan for the country and for the world. Regardless of whatever negative things happen, whether there is a massive terrorist attack on the United States tomorrow or next week, all of those things are going to come and go. The headlines, the news headlines are going to come and go. People are going to die. Terrorists are going to come out and expose themselves, and they're going to shoot up, colleges and and shopping malls. All these things are going to happen, but God has a plan, and everything that God does is redemptive in nature. Yeah. Everything God does is redemptive in nature. So when the devil influences terrorists to go out and shoot up a college dorm and kill a bunch of people, God will come in behind that, and he will start laying down his redemptive plan. The gentleman who was shot in Washington, D.C., the member of the National Guard, the woman was killed, shot in the head. The guy survived. He got discharged from the hospital yesterday. His prognosis was that he probably wasn't going to leave the hospital alive. And through prayer and intercession, he gained his neurological function back, and he was discharged from the hospital yesterday. All right. It's a testimony to God's goodness. Even in tragedy, even in darkness, God is doing things. So I would encourage you to look at what is God doing in the midst of this chaos that we see it swirling around us. Because God is always doing something good, loving, positive, inspiring in the midst of darkness. Always. Look for what God is doing. That's I'll land it there.
That's good. Yeah. And I will end by saying, as always, go outside, touch some grass, look at the sky, talk to God, and put your phone down and just be, it's a little cold here, for touching grass, but you can still go outside. And yeah, I mean, God is good, and he's gotten us through many, many, many challenges to Western civilization and to his plan for the ages. And so stay in his goodness and his will, for sure. So everybody have a wonderful evening, and thank you, Praying Medic, for joining us again for Conspiracy of Truth. And we do hope that we will have another show for you before the end of the year. We're working on trying to make that happen. So everybody have a wonderful Christmas, and hopefully we'll be able to give you New Year's greetings before New Year. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. Thank you. Bye.